Yeah. There's no order to these starts. It's just basically when you hit the pin as to when you go off. So it's not like a typical time trial where you do have the slow riders at the start and the fast riders at the back. It's all about hitting that start line, and that's when you go off. There will be the ability to see other riders ahead of you or behind you as you're racing, so that can be an advantage as well, because you can see if you're picking up on riders in front. But basically it's just you versus yourself, and how much energy you have in the tank.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully you're well warmed up.
For sure. So before we kick off, we're about 45 seconds away from race start for our first time trial efforts to go off. Do just want to note our sponsors. So we've got Manuka Performance, our naming rights sponsor for the series. They're giving away some awesome spot prizes tonight. 2 boxes of liquid fuel gels and 2 jars of the X68 performance drops, and also Phoenix Cycle Distributors. So family run business with 25 years of bike industry experience. I actually bought one of my race bikes from them. Spot prizes, they've got tonight an Explover X2 computer worth $170, and also a Swiss Top 10 Swiss Top training towels. So great work there. So thanks to our sponsors.
Fantastic. We love spot prizes. We love these.
Do we what? So we've got racing coming up soon, just looking at some of the first riders going out. Rob has done a lot of recceing of who is out on course, so we'll be able to give you a full rundown of all the riders there. Just seeing some of them kicking off now, and we'll go down to the racing.
All right, let's hit it. Okay, so it looks like we're following the A's. By the looks of this, is that correct, Anna?
Yeah, this is A's. So A's, everyone is in their categories, but they will have started off at similar times. So we'll have a whole mix of categories out on course at the same time.
Okay, so we're following Liam Miller here, a young triathlete from Tauranga. He's a really, really strong athlete, and he's put together some great races through the summer. I've seen a few of his good performances, and he's gone for the Canyon with a Zip 8, either 858 or 808 setup. 808's by the looks of that. So he's done his homework, this fella. He's got probably the fastest frame and the best option of the climbing and the flat course wheels. And he's just coming up on Matt Webb, by the looks of it, who is one of his club mates, I believe. And he looks like he's about to catch one of my athletes as well. So hopefully Craig realises that he can actually put an elbow out and disrupt him a little bit, but he should be fine. But he's going along at a good clip. He's going at 4.75 watts a kilo, so I imagine that's probably just around his threshold, so maybe he's pacing it very nicely, but I don't imagine he would be going too hard at this stage, which is a smart move. But he's moving quickly through this field.
Yeah, it sure is. So we'll have a look at who else has been coming through. Like I said, that's Liam Miller. We've got a whole bunch of categories we can follow throughout this racing, which is great. We'll see, we've got Dean Galt here, Wellington Triathlon Club member, I do believe. Starting off pretty hot for a B category, around 4, but Westgate just ahead, I'm seeing. 5.5 watts per kg.
Yeah, that's some big numbers coming out there. That's if you can hold 5.5 watts for 15 to 20 minutes, you're certainly a high level A plus rider. So it's going to be interesting to see how he manages that. Grayson Westgate.
And one rider here, Mark Balstead.
Yeah.
Remember him from season
I know Mark.
last year. I mean, we had a time trial last year, and he absolutely crushed the field. So this is looking pretty strong already from Mark, sitting there about 5.9.
And looking at and I would tell you that's actually him pacing himself very well. He's a very, very smart rider, very, very astute, knows how this course works, and he is actually doing this not comfortably, but he's doing it within himself. He's done his homework as well. He's on the fast bike. He's got the good wheels. I know Mark specifically has targeted this series. He's very, very excited about it.
Oh, that's great. So, I love that.
But he's just going through the flat part of town, and just settling into his job. He's going a nice clip. He's holding that pace. Look how smooth and even that is. Coming up to almost 2k into it, 1.8k in. It's a great start for Mark.
That's fantastic. What we might have a look at here is just the dual views. We've got the women's field on the right hand side. We're just having a look at Sophie Lysett there. You know,
Yeah.
I always get that wrong, Rob. But she's...
You won't now.
I won't now. She's getting chased. We just see in the distance we've got Karen Russo, another A rider, Kelly Good, one of the Wanaka Tri Club committee members, and also Cherie Scott just behind her, and it looks like another cryo. You're a part of that Zwift cryo team. Might be Heather
Yeah,
Neal
there's
there.
a few cryogen riders here. Yeah, there's a few cryogen riders in these races actually, which is good. Cherie's an awesome athlete. She raced Ironman New Zealand this year, and she received an award through Try and Z as sort of a really high level participation and enthusiasm award. So she's done very, very well this season. She's been through a fair amount, having been coached by Tony in the previous years. So this is great that she's here racing and doing so well this season. But as you can see, Sophie Lysart is settling into a nice effort here, just over 3 watts kilo. Again, I know Sophie is going to be controlling this pace really nicely for herself. Heather Neal's just behind her. Heather's a really, really strong road racer and Zwift racer. So, and as you can see, she's pushing close to 4 watts kilo. So Heather is certainly one to watch later on in this race.
Yeah, she's these women are heavy hitters. I know, because I've raced quite a few of them, and you can see Heather there has been catching up pretty well. We've also got, just see who's behind Cherie there, because I know there's Sonia Foote. Now, you know a little bit about Sonia Foote. We might just have a look at how she's going, because I think she's going to be a bit of a dark horse.
Yeah, so Sonia's coming from an elite mountain bike background. She's raced Xterra. She's won Xterra New Zealand multiple times. She's a very, very strong athlete, but you know, these mountain bikers, they are tough athletes. So I am looking forward to seeing how she goes. Being on a time trial bike, it's a bit different to a mountain bike, but this is Zwift. Anything can happen in Zwift. Just looking at what she's riding there, it's a bit hard to see. She might be on the Specialized S, the older S-Works Shiv, and she's got some low profile wheels. So she might have done her homework on this as well, because if you aren't as if you're a lighter rider, then you should hit this hill on a lighter setup wheel. You don't want to be bogged down by the heavier wheels. So she's actually done a very good job with her homework, and she's pushing out some watts, 4.8. I can't wait to see what she's like halfway up the climb. When she's holding that, and she's on target.
Oh,
and she's just dropped it back a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just seeing quite a few comments coming through our socials. So we've got one that's come in here from Barry from Domestic. Question for you, Rob.
With trainer difficulty, that's there's a lot of forum discussions on this one. How much time have we got, Barry? Okay, so personally, I like to run a time trial like this at a slightly lower trainer difficulty, so maybe 30 to 40%, because I just want to be able to settle into a rhythm. But if it was a road race, I'd probably look to run it at 50 to 60%, because I want to be able to feel the gradient on the hills, so you can adapt to the changes in pace a little bit. It's still the same power. You're still going out. You're still going the same speed. You're still doing the same effort. It's just how that power is delivered to the pedals, how smoothly it is. Whether you're a time trial rider that needs a nice even effort, or if you're a road rider who can deal with slightly choppier, higher intensity or more variable efforts, you go for the higher difficulty. But personally, I'd be going lower trainer difficulty, under 50%. 30 to 50%, I think, would be ideal. Any lower than that, it just feels like you're spinning, and you're not really getting much out of it.
We're just going to it's a good discussion point. I mean, if anyone is new to Zwift or wants to go into a bit of a deep dive of these topics we'll talk about, because seriously you can go into a pretty deep dive here, is head to Zwift Insider, or even just any of the Zwift Facebook pages, or just chuck some comments up on the Try and Z page while you're watching. We can answer it during the live stream. But yeah, there's you can go deep in the weeds with trainer difficulty, setups, strategy on this kind of course. Just flipped over to the men's race, because I've seen a bit of a hitter heading out and going quite fast. I do know Gordon McCauley is out racing, but I think that might have been Taz.
Gordy.
Taz Self just came screaming past Hayden Goldsack.
Yeah, I saw that. He was flying. He was moving. So he's sitting close to 5 watts kilo on average. So he's just at the base of the climb. He's only on a one. Varying between 1% and 2%. He hasn't hit the main climb itself yet, but this is He's 5.5k into it, so he's certainly going uphill at the moment, and it does get tougher and tougher. But if he's paced himself, and if this is his second sort of negative split effort, he's doing a very, very good ride. So this is going to be interesting to see how he goes as this ride progresses. He's sort of coming up to 3/4 of the way through almost. So he's on the rivet. It's going well.
He's going very well. I'm also seeing just creeping up behind a big hitter from the series. You know who it is, Ryan Kazanowski.
Yeah.
I know he's extremely good on the scratch rides. We will follow Taz Self here because they're about to take this hard right-hander, and looking at that elevation map in the top right-hand corner, you will see, boom, wall. These guys are hitting it right now.
He's just hit the wall, right? 9% straight away. So, and he's doing a good job here because he's not really shooting too high off in power, but he's actually going harder than he was on the flat. So he's obviously knows how to ride this race well. Again, it's going to be interesting to see, can he hold 6.3 watts kilo, 6 watts kilo for the next 5, maybe 7 minutes. It's going to be a real test of strength, but he is riding well, and he's going past people who are beginning to suffer. As you can see, these guys are just, they're finding it tough. But Taz Self, he's on the move, and it looks like Ryan is 4 seconds down on him. So Ryan's doing a similar thing. He's hit the bottom of the climb. He's at 6 watts a kilo. He's working hard, and Ryan, he's an astute Zwift racer. He knows how to do this race, and I know that his cycling form and his cycling pedigree is extremely high, so he should be one to watch by the finish of this. Absolutely. And he's a tough rooster. Oh, Ryan, I know he's went through coast to coast this year with a broken toe.
Oh wow.
And talking to his crew chief, who was actually racing in this race as well, it sounded like it was an extremely painful experience for him. So there's one guy that you don't want to get into a fight with on a bike race. But he's got a fight on his hands with Taz Self, who's creeping ahead of him, still a decent amount. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I do want to mention I've just seen Laura Wood popping up on screen in the women's race. We can just see her on the right-hand side. So she has just rounded into that climb at 9% now. You can almost see just the look of cycling through cement. She's got another cryogen rider, someone from the Cupcake Cartel right in front of her.
Deirdre, she's a great rider as well. She's been around the sport for a long time, She knows how to race. She's a very, very good athlete, very strong cyclist. But for a lot of these riders, this is the first time they've really hit a decent climb in a race. If they're quite new to Zwift, this will be a bit of a shock to the system. But you'll start. This is a great way to open a series because this is one of the hardest courses you get, but it's short enough that you can actually get through it pretty quickly, and you'll gain a lot from it. You'll get a lot of experience from it.
There was just Craig Kirkwood popping up on the socials saying, "Good luck, everyone." So
I'm surprised he's not racing.
I know. Where is he?
Yeah, I mean he raced last year, so what's different?
Yeah, I mean he's the.
He sold his bike.
Exactly. Maybe it's getting pretty competitive out here on the Zwift field, but I'm actually surprised Laura now is not catching up to Deirdre ahead of her. Deirdre's pulled up about 3 seconds, so Laura may have paced just a bit too hard at the start. I do have to say I went to a wedding with Laura last month, and man, she is a hitter on the dance floor. So
she can move.
She can move, that's for sure. So if she can just move on her bike, it would be awesome too.
Yeah, I mean the interesting thing here could be, is wheel selection going to be the difference between these two, because Deirdre's gone for a lower profile, lighter wheel. Laura's gone for an aero, slightly heavier wheel. The aero wheels would have helped her on the flat, but it may be a penalty on the climbs, whereas Deirdre's the opposite. She may have had a penalty on the flat, but now she's on the climb, she's riding a lighter wheel, possibly a little bit faster. So again, another race we want to see. They're riding watt for watt at the moment, so there's not a lot in that, and I know Deirdre will be looking at Laura, and Laura will be looking at Deirdre. So who's got it in them?
so many internal battles. We'll just take you back to the split screen just because we got Bobby Kells up on screen. He's you know him, you've raced with him and he's on your Zwift team. I coached him for a while. Very, very high level rower. So this could suit him pretty well, just that full power effort. You can see from that aerial shot, just the absolute elevation there that they're hitting.
Now,
Bobby there.
I just saw Bobby now on his bike. He's running the disc, so this is an interesting thing because obviously he gets a lot of gain on the flat, but is the disc going to be a penalty on the climbs? Knowing Bobby as a rider, he's a very, very strong, very, very smooth rider, so it may be that the disc is not a penalty on the climb as much as it would be for others. But he can't change his wheels now. He's stuck with it. So if he likes it or not, he's stuck with it.
I personally wouldn't have picked that. I don't think it's the best selection on this course. I can kind of, we've got Kate Brown up on the screen as well in the women's race. You can just see on the right hand side. I like that rig. She's got the S-Works Shiv. With they are deep dish Zwift wheels, so not the quickest you can get. It's probably better to have maybe the Zip 808s or some Envies, but I quite like that setup. She's looking pretty good there. Nick Sproul, she's just passed. She's about 6 seconds behind her, and Angie Wall, 8 seconds behind her.
Oh, I wonder who's going the higher power there, because Angie and Nick would be very similar cyclists. That's going to be an interesting race to watch, actually. Angie performed really well last year, and Anna Longville, just ahead of Kate. Now, Anna came back to Ironman racing from about 10 years away from the sport, and she qualified for Kona this year. So,
fantastic.
Anna's actually more of an ultra runner over the last few years, and I saw her as I was running through the forest and Rotorua a couple of weeks ago, and she's loving coming back to triathlon. So here she is on Zwift racing, and she's always been a strong cyclist, and she's putting out some good power at the moment, just under 4 watts kilo. So it's great to see these names coming back to the sport.
Oh, for sure. And talking about another name, we were talking about this person pre-show, Ben Ruth. Rocking an amazing beard get up. Definitely, that's not what he looks like in real life. I know that. I used to run with him back in high school. So, it's very, very impressive.
I was excited when I saw Ben's name on the start list, and I used to run with him, but I won't say I ran with him because I was a couple of minutes behind him every time we did a race. But he was one of the strongest cross-country runners, one of the strongest track runners. He was a fantastic marathon runner, and here he is riding. Now, I don't know whether that's because he's had enough of running, but maybe he's taking a break from it for a while. But he has an engine on him. He has absolute VO2 maxed out. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Ben goes. This was a name I was looking forward to seeing, actually, and he's putting out 6.3 watts kilo at the climb, so he's not mucking around. He's just gone past Pete Campbell from Tauranga, and Pete's a very good Ironman athlete as well, and Ben's just making this look easy. So what are you doing, Ben? How fast can you go? This is impressive. He could be the hitter, and I could just see a name ahead of Ben, Alex Heaney. So Alex is one of our top road cyclists. He's raced Tour of South, and he's worn the yellow jersey in Tour of South, and he's one of our top elite riders. He's raced through the summer season Dynamo Series as an ACAT rider, Cat 1 rider. So he's a very, very good cyclist, and it's great to see the cyclists coming through to these races with the triathletes. So I know Alex is a very, very strong rider, and he proves it by riding 7 watts a kilo. Going past cyclists like they're standing still. And he goes past Bobby.
Oh, Bobby's going to hate that.
Look at that.
Oh, man. And another rider here, M. Nay. Now, I do wonder if that could be one of the brothers of Zion Nay. There's a whole family of Nays.
Yeah, and there's young triathletes, these young little whippersnappers that can move quickly. Matthew Nay, he's very, very strong, and he looks like he's 8Ks into it, so he's at the top of the climb. He's on the finishing straight. He's actually on a road bike, which is interesting. I'm surprised I didn't. And he's finished. Oh, that's it. Yeah, he's across the line.
All done. Fantastic. So we'll click back, see what's happening in the women's race.
15:22. By the looks of it, 15:22 for Matt. Okay, so Laura is... Oh no, Kate Brown's gone past Deirdre. Laura's gone past Deirdre. So it looks like the battle between those two is passed. Deirdre's gone past Anna. So really, really interesting racing up front there.
Yeah, that's... it's
Oh, that's
a
funny.
lot
I've just got a funny message from Ben Ruth's wife, so that's good to know.
Oh, fantastic! That's awesome. I will come through back into the women's field as I get images back of the men's racing. So we'll come through. I'll just see who might be coming. Martina Fellman, also Holly Fletcher behind her. I think Martina's had a little bit of a power drop there. It just got so tired she had to just put her foot down. But she's got Holly Fletcher catching behind. Holly, another very, very top high-level rower. Now works for Swimming New Zealand, actually. But she's very, very good. We remember her from last year as well.
Well, the rowers take to Zwift racing so well because they don't need the skill. And we know rowers, they go backwards sitting down, and cycling is obviously going forward sitting down, so it's quite a different sport. But it is legs and lungs, and rowers have a lot of that, so they are very, very strong cyclists. So I'm always excited when I see a rower.
Yeah. Oh, look at that comment, Rob. People are wondering why you're not out there racing.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good.
There'd be a lot of heavy breathing. Yeah. So we'll,
but as you can,
we'll just
so I was just saying, as you can see that. No, that's right.
Important, Rob. You go. You got it.
No, I was going to talk about the gradient. So as you can see, at 9%, if you think about 9%, that is most hills around that you would ride on and you'd find you get a bit puffed on would be about 4 to 6%. So 9% is pretty steep. And as you said, this is taken off the actual Bologna ITT course that they had in Italy. So this is a real life gradient, and 9% you're not mucking around on this. And this does pitch up to 10 or 12% in parts as well. So that's very, very high, very, very steep. So we see some times coming through. Thornton with 17:08, Amy Hollenby 17:36. The Britain Lytton 19:53 and Hughes 18:57. That looks like that might be. Just wait for that to come across the screen. Heather Neal 18:57. So those are some quick times from those first two across the line there. That's really impressive. Good to see Brooke Lytton. She raced this morning in the ZRL race, which was probably one of the toughest races on the Zwift has had. So she's backing up, which messaging her earlier this week she was not excited about. So I'm sure she's glad it's over.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not surprised. This is there's a lot of riders that we're just seeing in the men's race crossing over. So we're trying to get back into the live feed of the men's race as they're coming through as well. The women, they started just a touch after, so they're still, as you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, a lot of them in the thick of this climb, sort of halfway up. We've got Martina Fellman there. Hal just coming up ahead of her. She's riding Pre-Song. She might come up to Rachel Napton as well. And Katrina Shores, that's a name I haven't seen in a while.
Yes, that's fantastic. There's some names coming back. I just saw on the men's race there that the finish results, it looked like Alex Heaney had the fastest time at 14:21. James Barnes 14:38. So that's James I was expecting would have been very high. James is actually a fantastic sprinter, so he's going to be great later in the series. Taz South 14:44. Mark Bowe said 14:45. That's only a second in that. Aaron Bleakley, he's a very, very strong Zwift racer as well, just over 15 minutes. So these guys are putting out some quick times. Brody Madrick there, look at that. He'll be happy to be off his bike.
Yeah. I mean, 15 minutes, that's absolutely insane times there that these guys are finishing with. So looks like just when they come across the line, we do lose the ability to just click back and see who else is coming through. But in the women's race, we can see all the way back now that we've got Cherie Scott on screen. We talked about her earlier on. Foot traffic rider here, so looks like...
That'll be Fiona Gallagher, won her age group at Ironman New Zealand this year. First time Ironman athlete, 17:30, so she takes second place so far. She's not in the hot seat, but she's not far off it, so Fiona will be very, very happy with that. I'm very happy with that, actually. That's great.
It's good.
Might give her a day off tomorrow.
She'll be lucky. Oh wow, yeah. So this is seeing a few more riders just coming through. I just saw Reed, Harvey, Somerville from the men's racing, all coming across the finish line, and everyone looks pretty spent. There's a whole lot of bikes just sitting there at an absolute standstill because it's
looks
not
like Sonia Foot in 1945 in 10th place. So yeah, I mean, maybe Sonia went out a little bit too hard, but that might be a bit of a tough result for her. I would have thought she'd be a little bit higher than that, but you know, we don't know how much they've been training, so maybe this is the start of things for her. But yeah, it's just an indication of how strong some of these athletes at the front of this field are. You know, and you know, the 1708 G Thornton, she's only a couple of minutes down on the top on the fastest men. So you know, some of the fastest elite cyclists in New Zealand who race on Zwift are only going 2 minutes quicker. So that's an indication of how strong she is, how fast that is. So yeah, fantastic.
Phenomenal riding. So we are, the men's racing now taking about 15 minutes to finish. So it actually looks like most of the men's field has finished. We'll keep you updated on some of these fast times. I can tell you now that I see James Barnes, who is one of the quickest riders on Zwift.
That was tough.
He's actually sitting in third place, it looks like there. So 2 places behind Heaney in a 14:38 with Taz Self just behind him. So there have been some extremely quick times going on around this course. But looking at the women's, only about 3 minutes slower, hitting that 17 minutes.
Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to the points races and the scratch races when they come up, because James, being one of the fastest sprinters in the sport, is going to really take it to the field, and seeing guys racing against Alex Heaney and Ryan Kiesanowski and Mark Bosted. There's some true firepower in those athletes, so that's going to be fantastic racing coming up.
So we will. How about we talk a little bit about the racing that is coming up? So this is a 6-race series. Best 4 races of that race series count. So this race, if you've had an absolute shocker and you haven't really quite paced yourself right, don't worry about it. You can ditch this result and take your next best 4. And we've got scratch races as the next lot of races. So they will not be like this one at all. It will all be about bike selection, first across the line. The next race,
course knowledge.
course knowledge. I'll be running recons with